Hey, what's up everybody? This is Osterberg501 and today I want to go over some of the new information we have gotten for Outriders from the 4th Outriders broadcast. We got a ton of new information with Broadcast 4, including our first look at the endgame, and I'm going to be doing more videos going into a lot of the specifics that we have learned with this newest broadcast, but for this video, I just want to do an overview of all of the information that we got. The first part of the live stream, they went over the Technomancer class, which was revealed a few months ago, and they just went into more specifics with all of their abilities. And essentially this class is focused on summoning / turrets and being more of a supportive class. They're the only class in the game with an actual heal. It seems to be a heal that when they pop it, it can heal your allies, so other players with you, and all of your turrets that you currently have out, no matter where you press it. And then they also have more supportive talents in their talent trees, like one that gives all of their allies damage buffs when they summon any turret. And if you want to see more on the Technomancer and some more of the specifics of the broadcast, I'd recommend going and watching it. They show a ton of gameplay and it was over 30 minutes long, so there's a ton of specific little information I'm not going to get to in this video. Now the rest of the live stream was focused on going more into specifics with the crafting system and giving us our first look at the end game, which are called expeditions. Now around 2 months ago I made a video going over all the information we had on the crafting system at the time. Then I used some extra footage and screenshots to fill in some of the blanks of the crafting system that we didn't have the specific information on, and some of that was talked about and clarified in this broadcast, and the vast majority of the information I got pretty spot on, such as the change variant part of the crafting system that was never specifically talked about. It was just shown in a few different screenshots and some of the gameplay shown on the crafting system, and it did end up to turn out to be exactly what I thought it would be, which is just changing the different fire modes of the weapon. So you could say have an AR and change it from burst fire to single shot or to fully auto. Now there was something pretty major that was never specifically talked about that I did get wrong in that video, and that is pertaining specifically to legendary items and more specifically legendary weapons. So when I went over that video, they never specifically told us how the different tiers of perks would be, because if you don't know, if you deconstruct a weapon in Outriders, you will then learn that perk that's on it, and there's 3 different tiers of perks, and tier 3 are legendary perks. And I thought that on a weapon you couldn't have 2 tier 3 legendary perks, but you actually can. You can actually deconstruct a legendary weapon, learn that tier 3 perk, which is a legendary specific perk, so the strongest of perks in the game you can get, and then you can take that legendary perk, put it on a different legendary weapon, which will allow you to have 2 tier 3 perks on one weapon, essentially giving you 2 legendary perks on a weapon, which are these big super strong perks that have very strong effects. And they specifically showed one in the video that they deconstructed a weapon that caused lightning damage anytime you shot an enemy, and put that tier 3 perk on a different legendary weapon that had the tier 3 perk that freezes enemies when you shoot them, so it would then be freezing enemies while also electrocuting them, which gives a massive increase to the amount of customization you can actually do in this game when it comes to changing perks and getting the best possible perk rolls for your weapons. And this will also give you a massive incentive to go find every legendary item in the game to deconstruct it, just to get all those tier 3 perks, to be able to mix and match those perks, because also a lot of the perks in the game can play off themselves. So they specifically a few months ago went over mixing 2 different perks, one that would freeze enemies when you headshot one, it would freeze all the enemies in the area, and then one that if you killed a frozen enemy, it would then blow up and do AoE damage to everything around it, pretty much allowing you to freeze whole packs of enemies, kill one, and then have this chain reaction of a massive amount of damage. So getting some more specific information on the crafting system just reaffirms how deep the RPG progression and customization will be in Outriders. Now the biggest focus of this live stream was the reveal of what will be in the end game for Outriders, and those are expeditions. And these expeditions are essentially the majority of the end game for Outriders, and they seem to be a pretty substantial amount of content. So how they explained it is once you beat the main campaign of Outriders, you will then be put into a new base camp. And this new base camp has a map you can go to that will show you all the new areas you can go and play at, which are the 14 expeditions of the end game. And something that made me very excited is that they specifically explained that all of of these expeditions are brand new handcrafted content that are pretty large maps. None of this is going to be redone campaign missions with the same enemies that are just harder. All new content. It seems to be a large amount of endgame content. And all of these expeditions are new areas to go to and essentially new missions. Now these expeditions are a bit different than all the other content you're going to be doing in the campaign up to this point, because all of these are endgame very hard missions and content, and they're kind of timed. So the faster you do these expeditions, the more rewards you get. And none of the enemies you're killing inside of there will give you loot as you're killing them. You will get all of the loot you have earned in that expedition at the end of the expedition, because you will get additional rewards the faster you complete them. And then there's also a tier system in these expeditions. So every expedition you can earn up to 3 tier unlocks for. And these tiers do 2 different things. They increase the difficulty of the missions, they increase the amount of loot and quality of the loot you're going to get, but they also unlock the additional expeditions. So say if you go into the first expedition and you beat it quick enough to unlock 1 extra tier, you will then get additional rewards for that expedition, and you will be able to increase your tier, which will then make any expedition you do on that higher tier give you higher quality rewards, more rewards, and just be overall more difficult. But it will also unlock the second expedition that then you can go do, and so on and so forth. Now, not only do these tiers do all of that, but they also increase the level of the loot you get, and these tiers go up to tier 15. And we're not exactly certain what the max level of gear is going to be, but it seems to be a 50 or slightly higher than 50. Now, once you get to tier 15, you will then unlock the final expedition, which is Heart of the Storm. Now, this seems to be something really unique and different than the other expeditions. It seems to be like a climax and the highest of tiers of missions to do, but we don't exactly know what that's going to be. My bet is it's a bigger version of expeditions, maybe something like Outriders' version of a raid. The expeditions seem to be a pretty complex system, but that is a general overview of the information that we currently have on them. And I'm going to be definitely doing a video specifically dedicated to going into a lot of the specifics of this system, because this is the end game of Outriders and it seems to be pretty jam-packed with content. And that is a general overview of the 4th broadcast for Outriders. And if you want to go see all the different gameplay and some of the more specifics that they talked about in this broadcast, I recommend going and watching it. Like I said, I'm definitely going to be doing more specialized videos that go more in depth with some of the information we got in this and just Outriders in general. So subscribe if you want to see more Outriders or other videos. Leave a like if you liked the video. Leave a comment down below what you guys think about all this new information, and thanks for watching.